How would you like to improve your health and keep your family safe? You're listening to the Healthy Home Hacks podcast, where we firmly believe enjoying optimal health shouldn't be a luxury. Healthy Home Authorities and husband and wife team Ron and Lisa will help you create a home environment that will level up your health. It's time to hear from the experts. Listen in on honest conversations and gain the best tips and advice. If you're ready to dive in and improve your well-being and increase your energy, you're in the right place. All right, here are your hosts, bowel biologists, authors, media darlings, vicarious vegans, and avocado aficionados, Ron and Lisa Barris.
Are you experiencing embarrassing gas, bloating, constipation, or other digestive woes? Well, you're not alone. Did you know 70% of Americans are dealing with digestive issues right now? And guys, it's getting worse. Inflammatory bowel diseases have jumped 50% in just 2 decades. Something isn't right. The gut-brain connection alone affects 1 in 5 adults. How would you like to improve digestive wellness and overall gut health in just 12 weeks? Grab our must-have resources for busy people. Head over to ronandlisa.info/gut. That's ronandlisa.info/gut. You're welcome. Welcome back to the show, everyone. I'm Lisa.
And I'm Ron. And here's a stat that should shock you. Over 70% of Americans are dealing with digestive issues right now, and it's getting worse. Inflammatory bowel diseases have jumped 50% in just 2 decades.
So what changed? The real culprits might not be in your fridge. They're under your sink, in your garage, and all over your lawn.
Everyday chemicals, pesticides, cleaning products. New research shows these aren't just sitting on surfaces, they're getting into our bodies and disrupting the beneficial bacteria in our gut.
And when those bacteria go down, everything falls apart. Weakened immunity, mental health issues, chronic inflammation, even antibiotic resistance.
The gut-brain connection alone affects 1 in 5 adults dealing with anxiety and depression. And scientists are finding direct links to microbiome disruption.
So today, how are these hidden chemicals undermining our gut health? What everyday products are the worst offenders? And what can you actually do about it?
We've brought a leading gut-brain expert to break down the science and give us practical steps to protect ourselves.
Whether you're dealing with gut issues or just want to understand what's happening inside your body when you spray that counter cleaner,
stay with us. What you're about to learn can change how you think about health forever. Our guest, Alex Martinez, CEO and co-founder of Intrinsic Medicine, is a patient, entrepreneur, business advisor, and healthcare industry leader committed to transforming how gut-brain immune access disorders are diagnosed and treated.
Alex co-founded Intrinsic Medicine, aiming to leverage human milk biology, you heard that right, to transform diseases caused by immune and microbiome dysregulation, including Parkinson's disease, juvenile idiopathic arthritis, IBS, IBD, autism spectrum disorder, and other GIBA disorders.
A prior associate attorney, Alex received his Juris Doctor from the University of Michigan Law School and his Bachelor of Arts in Health and Societies. Without further ado, welcome to the show, Alex. Yes.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. Lovely energy. So,
thank you for being with us. We're excited.
Yeah.
This is a hot topic. Probably every single person listening has had some kind of gut microbiome issue or is dealing with one now. So we're thrilled that you're here. And were you going to say something? I was going to go right into questions because I know everyone's chomping at the bit.
no, I was actually sort of laughing at your nice introduction. Who knew when I was in law school that I would be here today,
Right.
educating people about how cleaning their kitchens and themselves is actually impacting their gut and overall health, right?
Yeah.
So, Alex, this was not your dream as a 5-year-old boy to do. No.
Actually, as a 5-year-old, maybe, right? 'Cause, like, 5-year-olds are interested in germs, getting
Yeah.
dirty,
Yeah.
poop, right? Like,
Right.
it's all interesting. So maybe not 10-year-old, but 5-year-old,
Yeah.
they're
Maybe.
probably close.
It's
Well, that's
interesting, Alex, because similar with me, I was an interior designer and I got sick from toxins in a newly remodeled home. And, I know we're going to get into a lot of that, like how these are affecting our gut microbiome. And that's something you don't hear much about at all. So let's just start off. Can you explain the mechanism by which pesticides and industrial chemicals disrupt our beneficial gut bacteria and what is actually happening on a biological level?
So I'll keep it simple, right? It's the same thing that those do to the macroecologies. And what I mean by that is like, where are the bees? Where are the
mm,
birds? Where are the insects, right?
Mm,
We know that all of those industrial, you know, look at the fish, look at the frogs, the amphibians,
yeah.
look at what those do to those organisms. Well, in a smaller dynamic, but no less important and much closer to home, those same compounds are doing that to the ecology of the microbiome that's on us and inside of us.
Right. It's crazy. It's funny how people don't make that connection. We know the bees are the dying of the bees and all of the weird things happening with wildlife with their, endocrine disrupting chemicals that are changing the sexual orientation of frogs and bass and all of these, animals that they've proven due to these chemical exposures. And yet we don't really think about it as us, as like, yeah, that's going to affect us the same way too.
Yeah, and that's part of like what we're trying to do here. And so like on a direct mechanistic basis is that we have a concept of hygiene that ignores nature
Yes, right.
and ecology, right? And
Yeah,
so we have to think about microbes and bacteria, right? Instead of this germ theory, oh my gosh, a germ, it's so bad. It's the same thing. A wolf is a keystone predator, right? It's in the right situation, it keeps everything in balance, but you don't put it on a sheep ranch, right?
right,
Because it
right,
causes disruption, right?
right.
And so when we think about it, it's a balance of these different, you know, microbial actors, right? And how we're disrupting them. And, that's what's interesting is that this interplay has a direct effect on our health and well-being. And so, for example, like the most important bacteria in our guts are the bifidobacteria.
what is it
And
called
the
again, Alex? Biphenol.
bifidobacteria.
Okay.
It's like this is like a large family of bacterium. There's all these different subspecies. There are ones that are there at different stages of life. I actually think about them as like kind of like the American bison, like the buffalo,
Mm,
right? If you think about just as an ecological reference, and these are the fundamental symbiote. This is like when we're born, or if we're not a C-section baby, our mother inoculates us, blesses us with these healthy, beneficial bacteria. And then her milk has special sugars that specifically nurture this. And these bacteria are like, they're our first line of defense. Like, it's
right.
time for us to think about the microbiome as an acquired immune system, right? They're like our allies, just covering us. And it's important to remember our gut is actually where we take the outside in. Okay.
Mhm.
So it's a very vulnerable point. So, in some ways, I think from all the way from the skin all the way to the internal, think about it as it is a continuous barrier. And so, we want microbes there who are essentially making sure the first pass is done and that that everything is
So we have a symbiotic relationship with them. And then
yeah,
when the environment interferes with that, so from glyphosate or something that we eat and it destroys some of this good bacteria in our gut, that's where the problems occur, right?
bingo. And because glyphosate is like, it's basically an antibiotic for bifidos, right?
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
so give listeners some practical things right now that are harming their gut that they probably may or may not be aware of? What are like 5 of the worst things that you can expose yourself to that are bad for your gut?
I mean, the easy one's alcohol.
Oh.
Alcohol, yeah.
Yeah, just strip that one away.
So is it all alcohol or is it like wines too?
Yeah,
Red wine as well? Okay.
yeah. I mean, it's always going to cause some disruption.
Alex, you ruined our Saturday night. This makes
I know. I know. I hate to be a buzzkill.
Well, do you believe in moderation with it? I mean, alcohol in moderation, as long as you're
So it's interesting. I think this is what's really important. Like, then this is what I try to like leave with people is we've all done the quantified self thing, right? We all have the Aura rings. We all track everything. Those are merely tools. Like, catch yourself. Do you wake up and look at your sleep score and then decide how your sleep was?
no,
No.
not me.
Exactly. Exactly. No, I wouldn't think we would do that, Lisa, but this epiphany came when I was doing it. And it really was using it as a tool to basically study myself and
Not change anything, just study what is, right?
yeah, study my
Yeah.
baseline, but then also like when I had a single alcoholic drink, like I had a sleep disturbance. Yeah. So these are tools for us to generate self-awareness, right? And what's important is I believe in personal sovereignty. So like you should do it. Like, look, if I was drinking wine, get some delicious biodynamic wine. Like this, so the beauty of it. So this is actually the cool thing is what is wine?
Fermented grapes. Yeah.
It's a byproduct of microbes, right? There is a symbiosis, right? They took those compounds, and the alcohol is actually what rate limits the reaction. Is actually what keeps the bacteria from consuming everything, right? So that's what establishes the homeostasis. And so why many of those like wonderful studies saying, hey, look, wine's actually good for you works is because those bacteria created metabolites. And those metabolites are the flavors, the nuance, the beauty we have. And guess what? The benefit is probably more than it impacts you, right? So it's a trade-off. So again, this is if somebody's having gut problems, I would say eliminate that factor. And then we can talk about some other things that you can do. And then if that's important for you socially or culturally, sure, add it on, but build up the capacity. So let's talk about some like other things. Like honestly, the biggest one is like stress. Like,
But
and
that's why we have, Alex, that's why we drink the red wine.
yeah, yes, that is the paradox of it, right? So, chronic stress certainly is one of those things. What else?
Sugar. Processed sugar.
Yeah, processed sugar is a major one. I think one of the conversations we also really need to have, and it's just like where labeling transparency is so important, is that like I know a lot of people are going more plant-based. When you go highly processed plant-based,
Right.
if it was done in industrialized farming, guess what you're being exposed to, Lisa? What are
Pesticides, glyphosate,
yes,
fertilizers, all of it. Yeah.
exactly. So that may be one of these things. So I recommend to everyone, like, find usually a functional or naturopathic practitioner and do an elimination
diet. Yeah.
Yes.
But I did want to say you put a little rain on our parade, Alex, because today is our 10-year vegan anniversary.
Yes, right.
Hey,
10 years vegan, but we when we started, we were just like you said, we were buying all the processed foods because back then there really wasn't as good of options. And number 2, you couldn't get everything organic. So it'd be like soy this and soy that and soy this, soy ice cream, soy, everything. And we're not that way now. We're very organic, plant-based. And you have to learn how to be a good vegan, how to be a good plant-based. Just because you're vegan doesn't make you healthy,
Exactly. It is. And congratulations on that, by the way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Welcome to the party, right? So are you not vegan, Alex, or you're going to be today, right?
So what's interesting is I largely try not to eat animals.
Yeah.
I won't eat an animal unless it had a life I wouldn't mind being reincarnated as. Let's just say that.
Oh, which
Oh,
animal would that be? A dolphin?
So think about buffalo meat in regenerative farming
Okay.
settings, axis deer that are culled because they're an invasive species but are living in a high stress area.
Salmon, because they swim upstream to their death, right?
Yeah, so with fish, it's what I catch. It's spearfish, so I'll
Mm.
go and
Oh, wow.
and again, it's a very proximate connection.
Alex,
And
is it the spear gun that you use?
A harpoon. We
Harpoon.
saw some people on the beach last weekend doing that. Yeah.
yeah, I'm a free diver, so yeah,
Okay.
I spent a lot of time down there, and I think that's also one of the important things here is that like this is how this all interconnects. That's part of being in like I'm entering the ecological system, right? As a predator,
Yes.
as a predator. And
Right.
I'm also not the top of the food chain. I'm,
Mhm.
not advanced, in my capabilities. And I'm selective and I'm part of the process. And if you think about us ancestrally, think about all the processes. So if I'm bringing the fish out, if I'm getting the vegetables out, if I'm digging the roots out with my hands, I'm actually curating a microbiome from what I'm consuming. And that's becoming part of me. It's becoming it. So this is an interface by which it's an invisible interface by which we're communicating with our environment.
Well, and
And
like the Hawaiians, they are very big on blessing the life of an animal when they have it for sale or something.
uh-huh.
They will do like a ceremony around it. And I think
Yeah.
that's really because part of why we're vegan is obviously animal welfare,
Yep.
a big part of it. And we don't want to harm animals. We don't want to be a part of that. So I think like the honoring the animal welfare part of it is a really big thing. Like not just eating unconsciously, but consciously choosing, and being aware. And if you want to eat meat, that's your decision, but being conscious, aware of all of that and how it
Hey,
affects.
that's so important, Lisa, because in some ways, the obesity epidemic is the other side of an industrialized animal cruelty,
Yeah, the
right?
factory farming.
Paradigm, right?
Oh,
Because
it's horrid.
right, like think about that principle I just said. Like,
Hmm.
would you mind being the animal that you just consumed, living
Right.
living a life like have a chance to reproduce,
Right.
right? Like
Right.
to
Not even running,
really,
not even being
yeah,
able to be on grass, not even being able to have your child taken away. I mean, they do that with the cows, the milking cows and
yeah,
pigs and that. And it's really, if people saw, they wouldn't want to be a part of it. I think people just go out of sight, out of mind. Oh, like a little perfect piece of deli meat. It must have not come from an animal, in a factory farm.
exactly. And that's why, like, as I shared with you, and thank you for being open minded with me, is that like, yeah, I live it, right? I have that experience. I feel a loss, right, as I'm getting the gift from the animal. And one of the things that's I'll share it with you because thank you for sharing more with me. One of the things I observed in how I hunt is that I'll go down into school. I don't choose the fish chooses me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
A fish knows I'm there as a predator and sacrifices itself for its school. It's
Oh,
interesting.
wow, interesting.
I'm not pointing, it swims in front of.
Interesting.
Wow.
So, and that's part of just being in the flow state, and that's when
Mhm.
you're there, and that
Mm,
and that's when you've been welcomed to the ecosystem,
mm.
and so that's really kind of how I think about all of this stuff,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And so when we think about the microbiome, it's thinking about yourself as a planet. We are a planet, right?
Mhm.
And we have these cells that have their own circadian rhythm, and every single day they wake up. And
Mhm.
then guess what? They have a bunch of these symbiotes that they work with,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And what we're doing with what we considered classical hygiene is we're really disrupting that other side, which is the
Mhm.
interface between us and nature.
Would you say coffee is a no-no too? Going back to that, how do you feel about caffeine? How does that affect the gut microbiome?
Yeah. So I prefer to do like green teas. I think you can get so much more from teas. The epicatechins in
Yeah.
them are very good for your gut, right?
Mm,
So
okay.
So basically it's like, why would you not? But if you like coffee, it's,
You think it's fine, whether it's caffeinated or not? I mean, that's a whole other show, because within the coffee, we've got like the Starbucks junk. There's different levels of how you can drink coffee. Like,
I say the biggest thing, if you want to drink coffee, you just may have to make sure there's no mycotoxin on it.
yes.
Because that mycotoxin will destroy your gut
Yeah,
and
that's
destroy your health. Like, so
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you for saying that. We have a blog post on that with all our picks for the top organic, mold-free, mycotoxin-free,
Perfect.
third-party tested coffees. And yeah, you're going to pay a little more, but trust me, you're paying more at Starbucks. You're paying a lot more at Starbucks for crappy coffee that's not organic, that, is going to be loaded with who knows what kind of sugar and flavors. So yeah, I think just that simple change can really make a difference in how you feel.
Probably a good segue for our next question. So the research suggests, Alex, a link between these chemical exposures and antibiotic resistance. So given the gut-brain connection known as the gut-brain axis, how might damage to our gut microbiome influence overall health?
Yeah. So the way I really like to present it is that just gut health equals human health, right? Dead stop. We've known this for thousands of years. That's why Hippocrates said all diseases start in the gut. Like literally, like we're not inventing anything new. We're just remembering.
Going back to
Yeah.
what it was originally. Yeah.
And what's the most important thing to think about is our brain here is probably not our first brain, right? It's funny. People talk about the enteric or the gut nervous system as the second brain. I think it's the first brain.
Like your
Okay.
gut instinct, right? Do you think you'll have better gut instinct with a
Yeah.
healthy gut? That's interesting.
Yeah. So think about from an evolutionary perspective, like what is our GI tract? Mouth to anus. It's a worm.
What do you mean?
The whole thing's a worm.
I
know. Sorry,
I need no more worms.
It's a crazy one, but it's a crazy thought experiment. But if you take out the GI system, it is a segmented worm, right?
Oh, it looks like a worm.
So if you go back, a billion years or so, right? You go all the way back in evolution, it was a worm, right? Like an early multicellular organism that hooked up with the symbiotes, right? It said, "Hey, we want to be our own thing." Right? We don't want to be single celled anymore. And they said, "Hey, well, you know what? We can help you. You're still going to be open on these ends. We'll protect you on the inside." So that's our GI tract. Then you had neurons developing from that to help direct the organism. So in some ways, I think our gut is, as you said, Lisa, right? Our gut sense, it's the primordial brain, right?
Yeah.
It's
smarter than the brain. What's that famous Albert Einstein quote? Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Where something about a fish, like your gut, he talks about how your instinct is your actual genius, not your mental capacity, right? It's a cool quote. And it's true. If you actually trust your gut and let it lead you more than your brain, it leads you better.
Yeah.
It really does. Yeah. It'll keep you from danger, right? You get that feeling, right? Something's not right about this person, or something's not right about that alley.
And so what's interesting is that our gut has the red telephone line directly to the brain. It's called the vagus nerve.
The vagus nerve. Okay, this just came up, not to get all into this topic, but did you see in the Epstein files, there was all this conversation with Epstein about the vagus nerve? Did you see those emails by any chance?
I haven't seen those ones. I did look at he was very interested in the microbiome and fecal microbial transplant. So
yeah,
yeah.
We'll just leave that at that. But I thought the vagus nerve was interesting.
That is very interesting. And also getting back to your analogy of how the GI tract really, we're just a giant worm from mouth to anus, right?
Yeah.
At first I was disgusted, right?
Yeah.
But then I thought about it. We could have been.
I still am.
We could be an octopus, right? I think octopus their mouth and anus is the same thing.
Yes,
right? So
it is. Yeah.
aren't we so blessed right now?
Yeah.
Okay, no, I'm moving on.
Okay, very good.
Well, no, something fascinating to me, because what is the percentage of serotonin that's from our gut?
Oh, it's like 80% or something.
80%, right?
Yeah.
80% for your listeners who've never heard that. That's pretty shocking when you hear that. Like the majority of our serotonin in our body, it comes from our gut. So this gut-brain axis and this link to depression and children that are having all of these behavioral disorders. What do you say about that? Like, because it's skyrocketing. I mean, I grew up, I didn't know one person with ADHD or a behavioral disorder or even a gut disorder. I didn't know one child. And I'm sure everyone in our generation and older can say the same thing, right?
Yeah, they're almost all gut mediated. I mean,
Yeah.
we're finding relationships in really everything. I mean, the behavioral stuff, autism, even things as seemingly distinct as rheumatoid arthritis,
Mm.
patients have a distinct gut
Mm.
microbiome signature. Yeah, and so it really is a critical factor that just needs to be addressed. And then FMTs, fecal microbiota transplants, actually do work in all of those contexts, including rheumatoid arthritis.
Okay,
So
so you're a
from like,
proponent of that. Okay. I heard about it years ago and I was like, they have to be kidding. This can't be real.
so
And
it's super real. The problem is it's not scalable, right? So it serves as a proof of concept,
Mm.
which is if we modify the microbiome, we can make amazing changes in people's health. But this is really like mind blowing. For example, a slender woman who unfortunately she has antibiotics. She gets a C. diff infection, right? So when the pathogen says, I'm going to regrow faster than the good guys,
Mhm.
and she gets really sick. You die of sepsis from that. So she got a microbiome transplant. I think it was from like her daughter who had a different metabolic phenotype, a different body shape, right? The lady gained like 50 pounds. Like she
You're
completely changed.
kidding.
It
Wow.
saved her life.
Saved her gut. Oh, wow.
It saved her life, but her entire body changed. And so we know that this is something that you can intervene, you can change the course of the disease, and we also know it's deterministic on our overall body. So that then creates some issues, right? And so what we're trying to do then is say, how do we cultivate and restore the healthiest wild type gut microbiome?
Mm.
And I think what you and Ron are doing is fantastic, right? Because like, I'm building a company based on human identical milk oligosaccharides, which we can talk about in a little bit. But what are oligosaccharides? They're the carbohydrates, and those are found in plants, right? The ones in human milk set the foundation for a gut, and then it transitions to the plant-based oligosaccharides, and that's how you continue that cultivation.
Hmm. This is a random question. Do you think GLP-1 peptides, all of the rage, Ozempic, all of these weight loss drugs are doing more harm than good to the gut? Or is this a topic you're aware of?
Yes. So, well, would I let myself be bitten by a Gila monster? Right? That is
It is
where
snake venom, right? Is that so? It is snake. It's derived from snake venom.
it's a peptide from a venomous lizard, the Gila monster,
Okay, it is.
right?
Okay.
Yeah. And so what this slow-moving creature does is it bites its prey, and they get something called, I think it's gastroparesis, where basically it paralyzes their gut and they can't move, and then this thing comes and eats them, right?
Okay. Okay.
How does a GLP-1 work? It basically paralyzes your gut.
Great.
Wow.
Great.
And so as a result, like, satiety, like you just,
Feel full all the time. Yeah.
yeah, it's an injectable eating disorder. I don't like them.
An injectable eating
Mm,
disorder. Ooh.
Yeah, yeah,
wow.
That's a good tagline.
yeah.
'Cause we know a lot of people who are taking it and boom, all of a sudden, especially some overweight people that like, whoa, they transform their bodies. But as someone who's very into natural medicine and alternatives, I wonder about the long-term effects and the dependency, all
It
of
it
that.
exactly, and it's an unknown, and this is the other thing that I like. I'm not against that. I'm against people using tools that meet them where they are, right?
Yeah.
So somebody's like, because the classic thing, if you have somebody who's like honestly more than 10, 20 pounds overweight, even my wife is a really gifted physical therapist, like getting them into just like a calorie burn activity
Right.
can actually lead to injury, right? And then
Oh, okay.
it's only going to be a regressive step, right?
Oh, okay. Okay.
And so and sometimes you need to give people some momentum, right? And that's where I think the application of anti-obesity agents is in subchronic use, right?
Yeah.
It's like get people that momentum combined with it. And so that's where I think some of the lower doses that are being explored for GLP-1s and stuff like that
Hmm.
in the context of an overall behavioral transformation, right? Because
Yeah.
you have to stop the root causes, right? You can't build a dam and then keep having the water come, right? It's
Yeah.
going to break,
Like the
right?
people who got the gastric bypass and then ended up gaining so much weight back, they ended up like
Ba-
rupturing.
Bingo. That's a great example. And so why would we want to do that at the cellular level, right?
Yeah.
Why? So again, it just takes some accountability. If you're going to
Yeah.
use those agents, you have to, it's not a panacea. It's not a fix all and fix it forever.
Mm.
It's your
Short
opportunity.
term just to get you to where you need to go so where you can like get
Yeah.
motivated to work out and do better.
Yeah.
Especially if you're like diabetics, you can understand that's like what it was originally intended for. And
Yeah.
some of those people really need that. But yeah, it still is going to require that muscle buildings. We know it burns muscle. People
Yep.
are losing a lot of muscle because they didn't change their lifestyle.
Correct.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I encourage anyone who's on like right a health change continuum, like
Mhm.
take that first step, but you have to do it with accountability,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. The education part. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're giving it out like candy. I see it at like med spas lining up the counter. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And actually, hold on that interesting just to top off the GLP-1 thing is, hey, guess what? Our body makes its own.
It makes its
Eh,
own GLP.
yep. And what does it need? Oh, it needs some it needs oligosaccharides, right? It
Oh.
needs a healthy gut microbiome,
Oh.
producing butyrate, which improves your own endogenous levels.
So you could do things to increase your own bodies, right?
Absolutely. It's dietary fiber. 95% of American adults are not at our dietary fiber
Oh,
requirements.
now
All
tell us
right.
what kind of fibers, because people get that wrong. They're like, "Oh, fiber, I'm gonna go eat white bread
Yeah. Yeah.
or
Yeah.
rice," you know?
Yeah.
So
Or they load up on Metamucil, right?
right. Yeah.
So it's whole food based. That's really where it is. One of the ones that's probably best is artichoke,
Oh, that's one of my favorite vegetables. I love.
right?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. The Jerusalem artichoke, right? That's where inulin comes from, which is one of the like, which honestly is a phenomenal fiber. And
Yeah. Gosh, thanks
so,
for reminding me that. Yeah, you never think of the vegetable. Well, of course, vegetables have a lot of fiber. Don't apples and
yep, exactly. So
yeah,
apple
yeah,
peels are fantastic for
yeah.
that, right? And then it's also structured water. I mean, that's another, thing to consider, right? Like
Structured water is good for that.
well, so I call fruit structured water.
Oh,
It's the true
okay.
structured water. Because think about it, the original like 8 glasses a day, that was done literally like squeezing the water content out of a diet, right?
Yeah.
So our body actually, I like I wouldn't drink water when I'm eating, right? Because you're
Right.
actually
Dilute.
you're
Yeah.
diluting the stomach acid, right?
Right. So I just read this like a week or two ago that the 8 glasses of water is not good. That's been
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we're like the fact that we can't even get basic hydration, right, is like blowing my mind. Like
right.
and
Right.
now like people are like, "Oh yeah, look, I got these electrolytes." And you're like I'm like sodium like potassium ion balances are pretty important. Like like literally this is like cell membrane stuff.
Right. What is structured water? I thought structured water was, do you know what I thought it was? Because I haven't dug down this topic. I thought it was like when the crystals form perfect, like the Dr. Emoto, experiment on
Uh-huh.
the water when it's given positive energy that it changes in structure. I thought that was structured water. Is it? Can you explain to listeners what it is actually?
Oh well, I'm just using it as a term. It's because if you think about fruit, it's basically a matrix, right? It's a crystalline matrix, right? The sugars are crystals, and it's then holding water in it.
Oh, okay. Right.
And so that's where I think that's like the ultimate structured water. But I know the studies you're talking about, and you know what? It never hurts to bless your water.
Yeah.
Right.
And say
Right. I
say
mean, those
say nice
experiments.
things.
Yeah, those
Yeah.
experiments are incredible, listeners, if you've never seen it, because he talks really negative to some of the water and positive, and he puts words on them. And this goes on, these experiments go on. And when he goes back to check the crystals under a microscope, the water that had the negative words and taped on and spoken to versus they were like black crystals, they were disfigured. And then the other ones were gorgeous looking, snowflake looking, all different types of designs depending on the word, because we are mostly water. We're 80%, 70, our bodies, 70
Yep.
something percent water, and our
70%.
brains 85 or something.
Oh, that's a great question. So, speaking of which, Alex, you may not recognize this, but I'm kind of a bodybuilder. No, I do work out now, but that old rule of
He's
thumb.
lucky. He's lucky.
I'm
Ron's
joking.
very sarcastic. Alex.
I'm very
All right.
sarcastic.
Okay.
But I heard drinking a gallon of water a day will shed some weight. But how does that affect your gut? Is that true? Do you know much
Oh,
about that?
He's gonna
That's
say
it.
no.
It's what temperature is that water?
Ooh.
Oh, well, cold, you lose more calories, right? But warm is
So
better for your. Oh, well, you tell me.
so do you think it would be a good idea to cold plunge the inside of your body?
No,
How about
I
hot plunge?
don't think so. It seems shocking.
Yeah, do you think there'd be like a stress shock response?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that, you know, if you are going to do it, first and foremost, what is it called? I think it's hyponatremia. Like you can actually dilute yourself by drinking too much water, right?
Right.
Like
Right.
that is a context where you need an electrolyte balance. So certainly I would not consume that all in a single time frame.
Okay, Alex. Well, I've not done that yet, so thanks for saving me. Okay, so okay.
Okay, perfect. And I married into a lovely Vietnamese family, and Vietnamese and Chinese family, and
Yeah.
there's so much wisdom there, and like they will
Oh,
not
okay. I was gonna say
cold
I've heard that
water.
with Asian cultures. You do room temperature.
And that is it's an
Mm,
absolute game changer. It's an absolute game changer. And then I think in terms of sequencing, we talked a little bit about this, but don't drink
right.
before you
Right.
eat, right? Like you don't
Yes.
dilute that stomach acid. That is actually like the first antipathogen defense. Because remember, like going back to the initial basis of the conversation, our food was alive.
Yeah.
It had like
Mhm.
all those raw foods that we're eating, they had
Mhm.
microbes on them. Some are beneficial and others, not so much. But by chewing them and then having them put completely into
Mhm.
the stomach acid, that's the first
Mhm.
line. They're cleared out. And then ones that are meant to
Mhm.
join the colony, they're gastric acid
Mhm.
resistant, right? And so that's why like the pH of like the stomach is so important. And we definitely don't dilute it and just save water for when you are
Really thirsty. Yeah, isn't
feeling
it weird? It's just a
thirst,
norm
right?
to always have something to drink when you are eating. And what's worse is I like the iced water. First of all, Ron and I never, ever, ever drink tap water. And especially when we go out because it's always tap water at
Right.
restaurants. And then they ice it, and the
Yeah.
ice is like the
Yeah.
lowest quality, can have mold, parasites, all of that stuff. So
And I don't I forget, but like I don't know what your chlorination is like in that water, but
Mm-hmm.
what is chlorine like?
yeah.
And you're putting that into your body, like you're disinfecting your gut microbiome, like
Yes,
you're
that's
like
right. Yeah.
right, right. And the same thing with skin as well, right? Because think about the that's why I like definitely
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
recommend like
Oh
Right.
shower
yeah.
Right.
heads, shower filters,
Such a no-brainer.
right? Because you get so much
Right.
chemical
Your
Right.
interactions
largest
with the
organ.
skin, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So I know we're wrapping up here on time, but I want to talk about the treatment that you have designed that can help remedy chronic illness impacted by disruptions to the gut microbiome. What is this? Tell us all about it.
Yeah. So what's interesting is started my career and I was in like the traditional pharmaceutical industry. So I kind of got that like inside the
Mm-hmm.
kitchen look. And then you say, I don't really want to eat at this restaurant anymore, right? But it formed a thesis for the company I started called Intrinsic Medicine. And basically, what I wanted to accomplish was I wanted to create safe new therapies for people. And I realized that when we looked at all of these different chronic diseases, while they have different names, they have the same common biological cause, and that's dysregulation of the immune system and dysregulation of the gut
Mm-hmm.
microbiome. And so I said, I'm not smarter than nature. Nature has the answer. Let me look through a lens of evolutionary biology, and let me find compounds that occur at certain points of human development
Mm-hmm.
that move those two things. And so I actually looked at infant nutrition and I looked at human milk. And what we found is that after fat and lactose, those are both caloric. There's a large number of oligosaccharides, which are a
Mm-hmm.
fancy way of saying sugar, but that are not digestible
Mm-hmm.
for calories. So the question is, what do they do? And they very specifically feed the
Mm-hmm.
gut microbiome, and they serve as decoys so that pathogens that want to infect the baby, or like E. coli, invasive E. coli's and things like that, they actually bind to those and pass out. So they actually, they're think about them as terraforming agents for a baby's developing gut. And what do babies have? They have a leaky gut and an imbalanced, hyperactive immune system. So the aha moment was saying, whoa, the baby's immune system and their developing gut microbiome look just like those in these disease states. What is nature
Protected.
doing to
Mm-hmm.
got protected? And so the simple question we're asking is, can we take those compounds, produce them via precision fermentation, but making them nature identical? And can we deploy them in different human disease states? And so we're entering clinical studies this year with a
Oh,
first study in
wow. That is so
Parkinson's
amazing. So,
disease.
unlike the fecal transplant, this wouldn't take on other parts of the person it was derived from.
Exactly. So I look at FMTs and I can say that proves that the gut is causal in it. And where these special sugars are is upstream of that. Because by putting them in, they selectively feed and kind of like
Okay.
restructure the microbiome. So it actually looks like what a healthy
Oh,
FMT
okay.
donor would
Wow.
be. So it basically cultivates, maybe the endangered but beneficial bugs,
Mhm.
and lets them restore and resume the
Wow. Would
thriving
this be
population.
in an injection form? How do you take it?
It's oral, it's
Okay.
a simple powder. They're extremely safe. So we're entering clinical studies, but then we'll also be
A
launching
supplement.
a
Nice.
supplement,
Wow.
yeah,
Because
later this year.
do we as babies lose that over time? Is that what happens? Babies have it and then when we become
There's-
adults, it's not in our body anymore?
well, we lose it, and
Oh, you only get it in breast milk, and it doesn't
stop.
stay in your body. Okay.
You all
Okay.
No, you only get it in breast milk. So while you're breastfeeding, it's like it like supercharges
Mm.
your gut microbiome. It does all manners of things. And when we think about like why do we have an epidemic of autoimmune disorders, allergies, formula drives a lot of that, right? Because these sugars teach the immune system, right? Because as a baby's microbiome is colonizing, its immune system
Okay.
wants to attack all those bugs. It just wants to like go crazy on everyone. And these sugars are like, these are okay. Like throttle down, and they send signals, then they can interface, and it's a balanced response. And these sugars basically enable the symbiosis to occur. So it's foundational. So then the premise here is that we do, your point's very valid. When we look at, I would say, health span, it is correlated with the decline of bifidobacterium. In early life, it's like the majority, literally the majority in your gut. And then by old
Oh,
age,
wow.
it could be zero. Some people truly have zero, and it's associated with things like being frail or not frail
Oh,
in
interesting.
old age. And so the concept here is that we have an access point to restore it to.
Wow. Will that be, it'll be a synthetic version?
That is like bioidentical, would you say? To
Yeah, I would say
Bioidentical.
yes,
Okay,
absolutely
that's great.
bioidentical.
And last question for listeners, because I know everybody's wondering this. Are probiotics a waste? Are they good? Are they a waste of your money? I know there's a lot of levels within that spectrum of probiotics, but I've heard
Yeah.
that by the time they reach your gut, your acid destroys them. So they never really get to do the job. Is that true or is that myth?
Well, what I like to say is a high level. So the probiotic industry is a $60 billion annual industry. We've cured gut disease, right?
Right.
No.
No.
Okay, there's your answer. Studies have shown that, I mean, this is bacteria as a drug. It's a living organism. Many are dead, right? The DOA, dead on arrival, dead on the shelf. Like you said, Lisa, some of them don't as they are not supposed to, don't survive the gastric process. You also have to think that these strains were cultivated from ones in your gut, and then they were put in a lab. Okay. And think about, I mean, what is a day to a bacteria?
Yeah.
Is that a millennium? Right. So it's a geological time they bring outside of the host. Right. So it's the same thing as like you take a tiger has a lineage in a zoo. Can you release it in the wild and it be healthy? Right. So it's that same concept. And then even if they do land, there is, I'd say it's a limited immunostimulatory property they have, because what we're really finding is it's not just who the bug is, it's what they're doing. It's like with people, right? It's, it's not, it's like with anything. It's like, what are they actually doing? And what's important, what dictates what they're doing? Prebiotic, another name for the fiber oligosaccharides, right?
Yeah, it's such a fascinating topic. There's so much to the gut, and we've all learned a lot about the gut because it's just so everybody talks about it now, right? And like you said, people are spending a lot of money. I was one of those people. I spent so much money on probiotics, just always to feel disappointed. Once in a while I'd get a little relief from this one, and then it'd be, someone recommends this one and it didn't work. And I'd say like the refrigerated variety, a lot of those, like you're talking about, keeping kind of some of that force alive because it has to be refrigerated, kind of makes common sense more than.
Yeah. And I would say, like, I mean, think about it. Kimchi, make your own kimchi from local vegetables you buy, right? Like wash them, keep some of the bugs on there, right?
Right. Okay. So fermented foods are good.
Okay.
Yes, fermented foods are great. Like if you're able to do dairy, yogurt's amazing. Beer is fantastic.
I mean,
yes, quality yogurt, and kefir is amazing. Like it literally means feel good in this language, and those people understood the gut-brain axis, right? And what does fermentation do? Is it creates a ecosystem of bacteria that keep the bad ones at bay that cause the food to spoil. It is an externalized symbiotic process, so you can welcome those ones.
Get those fermented foods, guys. If you have children or any family member or yourself that are suffering from some of these issues, start to think before you go, masking it with medication. Maybe there's a root cause that could be your gut, especially with these behavioral disorders, because they are skyrocketing and among teens and 20s right now. There's so much anxiety and stress and behavioral disorders. It's an epidemic. It's really bad. So anything you'd like to leave listeners with, Alex?
I think that on the journey of improving your health, just never forget the wisdom of your body and think about yourself as a planet with its own ecology, and never look to an external authority to tell you how you feel. Okay. And so, for people with gut health, issues, you have an amazing diagnostic that hopefully you see every single day. It costs nothing. It's absolutely free. It's a bowel movement. And you can use that to systematically understand whether something is helping you.
Yeah,
or
there's charts online. You can identify the shape, color, size.
Exactly. The Bristol Stool Form Scale is a roadmap to what works for you, the unique you, not the you that everyone's
Right. Oh, I love
to.
that. Yes. Excellent. This was so interesting. We could have talked another hour. Thank you so much for being with us today, Alex. You can learn more about Alex's upcoming clinical studies at intrinsicmedicine.com. And as always, friends, you can find the links in the show notes at healthyhomehacks.com.
Yes, and we appreciate you. So be sure to leave a review or a rating. 5 stars are always appreciated. It means so much to us. And if you're not already subscribed, consider this your friendly reminder if you want to hear great interviews like we just had with Alex. Thanks so much, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Alex.
Thanks,
Thank
Alex.
you. Thank you.
Information.
That was great.
This episode of the Healthy Home Hacks podcast has ended, but be sure to subscribe for more healthy living strategies and tactics to help you create the healthy home you've always dreamed of. And don't forget to rate and review so we can continue to bring you the best content. See you on the next episode.